Greetings and salutations, I'm Kev. Welcome back to this Let's Play of Outpost 2 Divided Destiny, and I have looked up the map coordinates. Apparently the last one we're gonna find is somewhere up here. So, which is kind of strange, I thought I was already up there. At least once. Let's see, what did it say? It said something like 90-30. Oh, so of course it's below the one thing I decided to avoid. Oh, great news. It's probably that one. Yeah, that little thingy there. That's the wreckage we want. Well, okay then, I think I have enough vehicles to kill that one. Hopefully also we still have time, I don't know. Would kind of suck to run out of time now. And of course we also have to get our vehicles safely back, and that's gonna be a challenge. Or at the very least our cargo trucks. The other one is still intact, yes. We would have lost the mission, I think, if we didn't have all 3 cargo trucks. So you go there. Yeah, that laser links isn't gonna get there.
Vortex imminent.
I keep fearing the alert. The Blight is approaching. That's the one I'm afraid of hearing. You know what? Just kill.
Alert. Vortex imminent.
As long as the
We are
vortex
under attack.
isn't right on top of me, it's gonna be fine.
Warning. Vortex detected.
Yeah, there it is.
Enemy unit sighted.
Pesky little
Unit
piece.
located.
Destroy that darn guard post, please. Excellent. Now we just have to get the heck out of the map with our cargo trucks. Preferably before the Blight shows up.
Vortex detected.
Where? That's okay, we can probably drive north of it. As soon as we get our little wreckage piece here. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I had to cheat on this one. It was so annoying having to troll the entire darn map.
Wreckage loaded.
Lovely! And yeah, these map locations are depending on difficulty. Depends on difficulty. So, as everything, it's pre-scripted. So I could have just smashed through here. Would have been easier rather than go the long route around that I tried. Then again, these are EMP posts, and they would have been rather nasty to deal with in a direct confrontation. There was a twister to the south here. Yeah, it's still active. So I can't really drive too close to that one. Of course, it's only the cargo trucks that matter at this point. Oh, it looks like the twister is gone. Drive, drive, drive. Hurry! Let's see if we can get them home. A few vehicles we have left. No vehicle undamaged. Not one. Except maybe the first cargo truck. It might have survived. Yeah, that's the only one with full hit points.
Vortex imminent.
Oh, please don't be down here. Ah, that's fine. Oh, look at that poor laser panther crawl. So slow. 2 hit points left. 2 hit points. Ay, 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 ay. Yeah, that's okay. That's behind me now, thank goodness.
Warning. Vortex detected.
More twisters. Twist and shouts. Just stay the hell out of the way from my cargo trucks right now. And I'll be quite content. And Mr. Cargo Truck, you know what? Don't, like, drive close to the darn vortex. Stay on the southern side here. I don't think it's gonna move that far, but it would suck to lose our cargo trucks now.
Warning. Vortex detected.
That's the one behind us, which is fine. Cargo wreckage. You can always hit this button and basically lose the mission. Same with this one. Self-destruct is an interesting button. It does have its purpose, but it's kind of difficult to pull off properly. Just basically you have to drive into the enemy and go boom. And there are some suicide units, if I recall correctly. Let's see. Okay, that's the second unit at the marker. I just need to get the third one. I've still no sign of the Blight, but time is ticking. 400 markers now. Maybe the Blight won't show up on this map. Nah, it has to show up at some point. Wouldn't be this game if it wasn't for the Blight. Or volcanoes.
You have done well. Our colony is surviving.
Woohoo! Continue. There we go, poor P for Plymouth. Victory! In the earlier Eid mission you noticed that the whole plate was blank. Okay, that is mission 6, so onwards to mission 7! Mission briefing. Commander, to continue development of the new starship, our scientists require large quantities of both common metals and rare metals. We have established a mining base in the foothills of a nearby mountain range. This location has rich deposits of both common ore and rare ore. The area is both seismically and volcanically active, however, and it is simply too dangerous to establish a full colony in this location. The mining base is staffed with some volunteer help. Notice the quotation marks there. As a convoy of loaded convex and cargo trucks has been sent in to help speed up the mining effort. A small complement of armored vehicles has also been dispatched to the location, but few robots can be spared from the main colony's defenses, and we do not have enough extra resources to support a structure factory in the mining base. Yikes. Satellite observations have shown numerous Plymouth vehicles in the area. Our secret location may not be as secret as we thought. Be prepared to defend the base if the Plymouth unit is located. The increased effect of the Blight is also creating havoc in the skies. Severe electrical storms have been noted by our scientists. These may pose a threat to our base as well. Our predictions show that we must do Our predictions show what we must do to succeed. Check the specific objectives list for details. Yeah, here we see the Plymouth vehicles on the approach. Excuse me. Okay, objectives. Have 8,000 units of rare metals in storage, have 12,000 units of common metals in storage. And we can't build any structures, remember? We're just gonna mine and survive. Okay. That's gonna be difficult, I think. Story time, though. 7. Gulag. Yeah, the volunteer thing, right? View story. Axon stood at the transport airlock, clanked against the mining outpost's command center. Motors whirred and pumps chugged as the locks sealed together and cycled. He took a final glance around the transport's empty cabin, the dozens of seats empty save for him. One last bit of VIP treatment, he thought. My private taxi to hell. The lights around the lock turned green, and the doors slid open with a hiss. He stepped through to find a broad-shouldered man with a handlebar mustache waiting for him. The man smiled and extended his hand. After a hesitation, Axon offered his hand in return. He wasn't feeling very friendly, but he might well need allies here, and he was cut off from all his familiar resources. The man's grip was like iron, and he shook Axon's hand vigorously. "Greetings, Elder. Welcome to the Gulag. I'm Vox Borgs, operating supervisor for this mining station. So, who did you offend to rate a transfer to this fine place?" It was the sort of question Axon generally tried to avoid answering, so he said nothing. Borgs just laughed. "Come on, come, we all have offended someone, Elder. There is no other reason to be here. It's a long list, a very long list." Borgs smiled broadly. "So it is, and myself, I had to offend only a single council member to receive this promotion." Behind Axon, the lock doors cycled shut, and there was a clunk as the transport undocked. He noticed that Borg's attention was focused on the departing transport. "How are things back at Mother Eden? I haven't seen it in a long time. Though I have accumulated much leave time, all the transports returning to Eden are constantly full." Axon's eyebrows raised. "That transport was empty. I was the only passenger." "I'm sorry, my friend, but you're mistaken. I have seen the paperwork proving that it was full. No room for additional passengers to Eden. Should there be any doubt, though you may not have seen him, there was a man in the cab with a sidearm, ready to clarify the situation." "Yeah." Brooke stared blankly at the young blonde woman who'd answered Axon's door. "Who are you?" "I live here," answered the woman. "Who are you?" "I'm looking for the elder Axon Moon." "I've never met him," she said, and started to close the door. "Wait!" He half threw himself into the door. "He lives here." She put a hand on his chest and gently pushed him back. "Not anymore. I moved in a week ago. I don't know a thing about it. Now go away before I have to call the volunteer guard." He stepped back and composed himself. Sorry, just a misunderstanding. He must have been moved. I'll take it up with the housing office." But when he found a quiet corner and called the housing office, they didn't have a listing for Axon. The woman there was an unshakable bureaucrat and couldn't be swayed. "He's an elder, fraggot. He can't have just disappeared." She glared at him from the screen. "I've told you I don't have that information. If he's an elder, perhaps he simply doesn't wish to be bothered. Good day." Brooke stared at the suddenly blank screen. Could that really be it? Could Axon simply have pulled some strings to allow himself to adapt a lower profile? Unlikely. And since Brooke had arranged to put him back in touch with the Savant, he'd never gone more than a week before sending word that he needed access to a vehicle. Something was definitely wrong, and it couldn't have happened at a worse time. He leaned back in his chair and watched the people lounging around the residence common area. None of them seemed to be watching him, but he couldn't be sure. He'd considered coming here at all, a risky move. But these masters probably knew more about what had happened to Axon than he did. Certainly they didn't number him among their friends. For the moment, Brooke was playing along with them, providing them with information, trading small favors on their behalf. Often as not, they provided all the barter goods, simply using him as a front for the transaction. They seemed to think, rightly so, that anything funneled through him was less likely to draw official attention. Oh, excuse me. Ugh. Reading is tough on the throat. What truly had him perplexed was Echo, sweet open Echo, the leader of the secret resistance movement. Thief, saboteur, and who knew what else. How could it be? She generally seemed to believe in her future humanity, built on a few hundred perfect genetic genotypes, repeated over and over for all of history. He shuddered. This morning she'd proudly confided in him how she'd already created a clone of herself several years before, using her position to switch her genetic material with a genotype from the gene bank selected by a young couple. Not only that, but she planned to do it again soon. Brooke looked up as a woman walked past, leading a small girl by the hand. She was the right age and hair color, but her eyes were brown. Brooke dropped his head and sighed. He couldn't take much more of this. Echo was insane. This was the only explanation. He wondered if that insanity was genetic, and imagined it repeated endlessly throughout history, like a hall of mirrors. That's a sweet image. "Brooke, He looked up to see Echo walking around a cluster of potted palms towards him. Toward him, a big smile on her face. I've been looking all over for you. You aren't avoiding me, are you, naughty boy? She reached out her hand and he took it, feeling a slight thrill at the contact, his mind and heart at war. For the 1000th time that day, he wondered if Axon was really right. Axon dropped his toolkit and lunged for a tunnel support column as the transstation deck bucked under his feet. Scooters slid out of the racks and fell over like a row of dominoes, and for a moment he was sure the hull would crack like an egg. Borg held onto a window frame and with one hand and grinned broadly at him. Axon scowled at him as the shaking stopped. Do you ever get used to this? Borg just laughed. He laughed a lot. It was really starting to annoy Axon. In time, friend, you become thankful for each one that is just a tremor, not a major quake or volcanic eruption. Then there is the Blight, which is very close. At any moment, one of our robomoles could strike an infected flow, channel it straight through us, and the entire outpost could be overrun. This is a dangerous place, which is why people such as ourselves are sent here. They say that if we mine our quota, we will be sent home. I don't think I believe that, but each day we live is a victory, and another chance for that change of power, that a change of power might bring us home. What kind of change of power? He wondered what Borgs really wanted from him. It almost become Axon's shadow since his arrival, and Axon's new quarters were right next to Borg's. Though Borg's title implied a great deal of responsibility, he never seemed to lack for time to follow Axon around, working with him on the minor Bobtronic repairs and adjustments that made up his current roster of assignments. At first, Axon had thought he was only bored and hungry for fresh gossip about things in Eden, and so he gladly obliged him in hopes that he'd lose interest. He'd been especially interested in Axon's substantially edited reports about the Masters and their activities. Could Borgs be one of them, or at least a sympathizer? Could that be the reason for his exile? Possibly, but certainly it was apparent that any number of offenses, real or imagined, could land a person here. Axon picked up his toolkit and brushed himself off. Borgs frowned slightly and touched the communication unit in his ear. Have you been checked out in a spacesuit lately, my friend? Beyond our populated disaster drills, of course. Yes, why? The tremors seem to have caused a malfunction in Guard Post 3. Best we should check it out right away. Come. He opened the floor hatch to the side of the tram station and began to climb down the service lock. Axon sighed. Even outside, there would be no losing his shadow. Brooke sat in the cab of the Scout as it trundled around the colony on a fool's mission to the garage. If he needed the time, he had the programming in place for it to travel all the way back to the robotic command center as well. If that didn't do it, well, he suspected nothing would. He'd watched dozens of times as Axon had activated the link to Craft, even helped in its planning and installation. He thought he could initiate the link himself. Unfortunately, it didn't mean anything unless Craft would talk to him. He cleared his throat nervously and looked out at the window at the vehicle factory that they were passing. What do you say to a computer? Well, Axon made it seem natural enough, but Brooke's direct interaction with the sophisticated, nearly human savants was limited. Craft, this is Brooke Panati. I know you can hear me. He paused a minute. Silence. I know that normally you'd only talk to Axon Moon, but that's why I need to talk to you. Axon is missing. Again, silence. I'm sure you've noticed the unusual time lapse since your last communication with him. I want you to help me find him. Silence. Craft, I'm pretty sure Axon has mentioned me to you. I helped put you back in touch. It's only through me that you were able to communicate at all. Please talk to me. Nothing. He sighed and scratched his chin thoughtfully. He felt like he was coaxing a shy child out of its hiding place. What would Axon do? Or perhaps more important, what had Axon already done? Craft, I know that Axon has had you working on the solutions to some very large and very complex problems concerning the Blight and the colony's survival. I'm sure you're still working on those problems at Axon's request. that's in an ongoing project. Isn't that correct? Well, without Axon to continually provide you with new information and to refine those problems, you have no hope of solving them. By talking to me, you may be able to put yourself back in touch with Axon so you can solve those problems. Talking to me would be an extension of those orders. The circuit was dead. Then there was a click, and an icon appeared on the display of his clipcom. A moving assembly of gear wheels and cogs, like a translucent clockwork, Craft's identity icon. This is Savant Craft. I will converse with you within the limits of my existing instructions. Where is Axon Moon? I was hoping you might be able to tell me. He isn't in the colony, at least not officially. He's not in the main colony? What did it mean by that? I don't think so. I haven't been able to locate him here. Then he may be at the mining outpost. Brooke blinked in surprise. What mining outpost? I've never heard of such a thing. They do not appear to be official records, but I have deduced its existence through information I've gained access to recently. I've identified 12 structure kits and 15 vehicles officially listed as recycled, yet this is not reflected in the output figures from the Gorf. Conclusion. These items were not destroyed and are not being used in Eden. This suggests they are being used elsewhere, and the mix of items involved suggests a mining installation. Brooke was amazed. It made sense, and yet it would have had to have been done right under his nose. Only someone near the top levels of authority would have been able to pull it off. The audacity flabbergasted him, and if Axon had vanished to this non-existent outpost, he probably wasn't the only one. How many of the people listed as missing during the last evacuation were actually political outcasts? Do you have any idea where this mining outpost is? I have monitored vehicle control traffic at bearing 118 from the colony. I estimate the range to be 150 kilometers. I do not believe these signals to be of Plymouth origin. That was it then. He knew where Axon was. Now all he had to do was figure out how to get him back and make it stick. Craft, it may be possible not only to get Axon back, but to put you two back together. I'll need your cooperation though. I will evaluate your requests. Please explain. And he did. Axon shifted his weight on the service platform and looked at the status lights on the panel in front of him again. The guard posts seemed to be working perfectly. The malfunction wasn't showing up on the local telltales, and therefore shouldn't have registered at the CC either. He looked down at Borgs. Are you sure this is the start they told you to check? This thing looks fine. Perhaps there is a malfunction in the connections between the guard post and the CC. It's a radio link, just like the vehicle control signals. There's nothing in the middle to go wrong. Borgs shrugged. Well then, there isn't a problem. You should come down from there. Axon muttered under his breath and closed his toolkit. He turned and backed down the ladder. It is most curious, continued Borgs. Perhaps the problem is not where you thought it was. Axon stepped off the ladder and turned to find himself looking down the barrel of a pistol. Borgs was still smiling. I am sorry, my friend, but there are only a few days to leave this maker-forsaken place. Few ways to leave this maker-forsaken place. I have been offered one, and you are about to discover quite another. He gestured at Axon's helmet. If you would please loosen the fastenings on your helmet, we can end this rapidly and with a minimal fuss. I am told unconsciousness comes quite quickly. He studied Borgs, looking for some opportunity. The other man was standing in front of the powerful machinery that moved the turret. The door was on the far side of that mechanism. It seemed hopeless. No go, Borgs. If you want me dead, you'll have to shoot me. I'm not going to make things easier for you. He shrugged again. So be it. There will be no questions asked about your death. In any case, trust me on this. He raised the weapon to fire. Suddenly there was a loud bang, and the guard post shook. At first Axon thought it was a tremor. Then the turret began to move. Behind Borgs, huge gears and motors began to whir. The outpost was under attack. Borgs was distracted for just a moment. Axon leapt, grabbing Borg's wrist with both hands and forcing the gun back over his head. The gun kicked, and the slugs splattered against the ceiling. Borgs put his other hand on Axon's faceplate and shoved him back. Axon fell against the ladder. Borgs again pointed the gun at him. Axon's hand groped for a discarded toolkit. He seized the handle and swung it as hard as he could. Borgs threw up his hands to protect his head, and the case struck the gun edge on, nearly tearing it from his hand. Axon pushed up from the ladder and charged towards Borgs like a football player. The man braced himself for the charge, but Axon veered, brushing past Borgs, his real goal the door on the other side of the turret mechanism. Borgs was knocked backward into the moving gears. His helmet lodged between the teeth of two huge gears. They turned, then hesitated, then moved again with a crack and a jerk. Borg's helmet cracked like a walnut, and a cloud of gas spewed out. The turret moved the other way, freeing Borgs, but it was too late. He grabbed weakly at his head, then fell to the floor and did not move. Axon started to relax, when a force like a huge club knocked him into the near wall. He couldn't tell if the flashes he saw were real, or if he was only seeing spots. Another explosion shook the guard post, only this time not as close. There was a rending screech as of metal, and the whole turret mechanism slumped away from him. The door was blocked. He shook his head to clear it, then crawled forward on hands and knees. There was light. There had to be a way out. He scanned the room. A hole gaped in the wall next to the platform he'd been standing on only minutes before. Weakly, he grabbed the sides of the ladder and climbed it one painful step at a time. He reached the platform, then used the railings to pull himself to his feet. The railing in front of the door was bent and twisted, and it was easy enough to squeeze past and through the hole. He rolled over the lip of the opening and out onto the platform that surrounded the guard post. A row of Plymouth combat vehicles was rolling toward him. One of them he could see dead nose on, and it seemed to be approaching quickly. He scrambled to his feet and grabbed along the side of the defense turret and around the corner behind it. The light combat unit rolled past no more than a yard away. Another explosive near miss sent him scurrying away from the turret. Even damaged as it was a prime target. He staggered across the open ground, trying to keep out of the way of the circling combat units, but they seemed to be everywhere. A missile flew over his head and exploded into the rear ore melter, then another, and another. The Plymouth units were moving deeper into the outpost, so the safest place for him seemed to be away from it. He glanced at his suit status indicator to check his oxygen supply, but the indicator panel was fractured and dark. Frag. Well, he'd just have to take his chances. There was a cluster of boulders 200 meters from the edge of the colony. It would offer cover until the battle was over. Halfway there, he started getting lightheaded, and dark spots crept into his vision. Something more than the suit's status panel must be damaged. It was getting difficult to walk, and his concentration was fading. He just wanted to lie down and sleep. He let his eyes close for a moment, and when he opened them, a vehicle had rolled up a few yards in front of him and pulled to a stop. Puzzled, he looked up at the scout. For a moment, he thought it must be a Plymouth unit, but the markings were clearly Eden. The hatch opened, and the spacesuited figure waved him inside. He grabbed the ladder, took a step up, then lost his balance and fell back. The figure reached down and grabbed the hanging straps on the shoulder of his suit, and managed to drag him up onto the vehicle's fender, then through the hatch. He helped as much as he could, but that wasn't much. The hatch slammed shut and the vehicle made a fast turn and started bouncing across the landscape full tilt. He lay on his back, gasping for breath. Behind him, some lights turned green, and he tried to remember what that meant. The other figure fumbled with its visor and managed to get it open. The air that rushed in was cold and slightly stale, but he didn't care. He sucked a deep breath in and coughed. He rolled over and found his face only centimeters from the flat side of his savant computer housing. He glanced up at the figure, which was just now removing its helmet. Benati grinned weakly at him. Some welcome party you'd throw, Axon. Aren't you even going to say hello to Crafton and me? Quite the rescue. Okay. I think I'm going to take a short break here, though, before we actually begin the mission. So, we'll do that. Thank you for watching. And listening.